We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you another episode of We Can Help with Dave and Woody, already in progress.
No, we were short on time.
Yeah,
So
sure. That's what she said.
no, I just looked at it. It was
60 minutes.
57:24.
That's what it was.
Yep,
Well, because we're professionals. That's why, Woody.
I guess. We thought we were cutting it short. We thought we were giving our listeners less
The
last week,
biz.
but it ended up being about the same. But before we get too far off,
Yeah, please wrap this up.
that's why the United States railroad tracks are that far apart.
Yeah, and I was trying to tell you, but you wouldn't stop your yammering on about it. But when I was in Greece, they use a different gauge. You know what? Hang on a second.
Gauge or distance?
Well, I don't know what they call that. It's the separation between the tracks. I think it's gauge. Alexa, what is the official railroad gauge in Greece?
Here are a few movies playing near Asbury Lake today.
Where in the hell does she get
Empire.
that from that
Immaculate.
sentence?
Late Night with the
Alexa,
Devil.
stop. I think when she doesn't know the answer, she goes right back to what's the movie night.
The last thing you asked, the last thing you ever
I've
asked
never
her.
asked her about the movie.
She's like, Theus, that movie is rated X.
How would I ask this? I would
Because I don't think gauge is how you ask it.
I think that's with model trains.
Yeah.
No, but there is a phrase that talks about the track and how wide it is.
Yeah, it's called, oh, you're right.
Uh-huh.
Railroad gauge.
You know, Theus is a lot smarter than he looks.
Sometimes you fool me.
I've been alive 60 years, Woody. There's a lot of water that's gone under this bridge. We're not doing that, by the way.
Yeah, that's too soon. Too
I know.
soon.
I can't even think of anything funny. But anyway, so yeah. And it's a narrow gauge. I don't know if they've improved it though.
Well, it's it's what England was using, so US just chose it, but it's like,
No, ours
well,
is wider. Yeah, ours is wider because we're Americans. I think it speaks to
says English, and I was telling you all this. Were you not listening?
I know. I'm just making sure you understood the difference.
English engineers were the first to design our railroads. So
Yeah.
that's why they're the same as English railroads. The
Huh.
Ruskies, they have wider railroads.
So we learned something kind of fun in class today. You want to hear about it? And nothing to
Yeah.
do with our classwork though.
I was going to say, did you actually make your lesson fun? What do you teach again? Remind us all.
Oh, I don't. Not really sure. No, I'm teaching computer business applications. So that's where you take a word processing software and a spreadsheet like Excel, and then PowerPoint. I don't like PowerPoint though. So we do a big project. I tell them we're kicking you out of your house. You get 2 weeks to find an apartment. You have to get a car, you have to get a job, all you have to get utilities, everything you have to do, food, budget. So what we're doing is we're teaching them research, how to research on the computer for things, on the Googly, and then they have to. So it's research, gather the information, store the information, display the information using different applications, whether it be a word processing or Excel spreadsheet. And then when they're done, they have to have 3 apartments because we always get 3 to do an evaluation with, and the utilities and all that stuff goes with it. And then there's going to be a packet so they can, it's not only an assignment for me, but it's a packet so they'll be able to look at it and make a valued, educated guess on which one they want to go with, which one they want to move to.
Do you assign them a career,
No,
like
I'm
an
gonna let
income?
there is a program that you do that with, but I felt like we had a kid last year, he was 5'2", 100 pounds, and he was going to be a professional basketball player. I said, no, nope, not going to happen. He goes, don't crush my dreams, Mr. Theus. I said, oh, I'm in the dream
Hey
crushing.
man, come on. You saw Spud Webb?
Yeah, but this guy was no Spud Webb.
Okay. All right.
Although
So
I did have a classmate that I played football with in high school, and he knew that his options were limited at the Division One, because back then not anybody went to these tiny schools. You either went to Division One or you didn't play.
right.
And so he said the senior year he was going to learn how to be a manager, and so he went to that summer to learn how to tape ankles and arms and stuff. And he came back.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Athlete. Yeah. I
Yeah,
thought you
as a
meant like
trainer.
team manager.
We would call him a trainer now, but they were managers back then. And so he got a full ride to Florida State and was the tape guy. And
the tape guy.
he got 2 national champions, and he went to Atlanta Falcons and was a tape guy at Atlanta Falcons for about 5-6 years.
Under Bobby Bowden?
Bobby Bowden when he was at Florida State, and then he went to the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL. So he went further than anybody, and he was taped a lot of stinky feet, though.
Did he come back? Did take his ring away from him?
I think those were the good years.
Oh, okay.
Before the stolen crab.
So stupid.
The sneakers. Those were free sneaker years.
He's got plenty of sneakers and a ring. Does the tape guy get a ring?
Yeah, everybody
I would
gets
think so.
Everyone gets a ring. You get a ring.
Your ring.
Like,
you don't get as nice a ring as the players, but you
it's
get
made of tape. That's the only problem.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Tape Man, make your own ring.
Yeah, all right.
So what was the fun thing you did in class?
Oh, Rubik's Cube. Now, we talked about the Rubik's Cube before.
You sent a picture to me the other day.
I know, but I had this idea. I don't want to kick this dead horse too much, but you and I have discussed that my interest in the Rubik's Cube was how it was made. You know, and so how did he get this thing to move on all these different dimensions? So the founder of the Rubik's Cube, do you know what his name is?
Yes.
I'll give you a
It
guess.
starts with an E.
That's his first name.
Yeah. Well,
He's
that's the hard one, right? Rubik is his last name, right?
Yeah, it's like Aaron or Aaron.
Or Aaron or
Rubik.
Like yeah.
And it was never devised to be called the Rubik's Cube. He's Hungarian, and he was teaching architecture and design, and he came up with this thing. It's not really, it's got some rounded edges to it. The original one he made out of wood, but basically he was trying to teach space and design to his kids. And so my question was, did Mr. Rubik know how to solve the puzzle that he made?
His own cube.
His own cube.
Hmm.
You know the answer?
No, he didn't.
He didn't. It took him about a month to figure it out.
Oh, he did figure it out. So he did know how to solve it.
Yeah, but I mean, it took him a month. Once he designed it and built it, he was like, wait a minute, there's something going on here. He didn't design it to be a toy or a game.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lesson tool in his architectural design class.
Okay. I'm looking around because I don't know what happened to the Rubik's Cube there.
And he's Hungarian. And so I said, is he still alive? So we started looking for it. And the last known date is 2021, September of 2021. It says he's still alive as of 2021. Then I wanted to know, is he still making some coin off of it? And so apparently there was a toy company that finally bought the rights to it. And I'm hoping he put a back end deal together because they've sold
Probably not.
They've sold billions
Yes.
of dollars of units.
I mean, they've been selling these since I was
1980.
I was gonna say it had to be in the early 80s is when I remember seeing
79
them.
or 80 is when it came out.
Okay.
So it's been 45 years or so.
Yeah, I was a little nerd, so I got one at the time.
And they were like either $1.95.
They were expensive at the time, if I remember right. I mean, I had to wait till Christmas rolled around to get one.
Well, they weren't that too terribly expensive. Now they're like 13, 14, 15 bucks.
Well, it depends. You can get them on keychains and everything else. I'm really baffled about where it went.
Well, Evan took it.
Well, I guess, but he hasn't been home since last week. So
Maybe the dog ate it.
that's probably a more likely story. So
All right. Anyway, so Rubik, the Hungarian, Mr. Rubik, they call him.
yeah, and the reason I know that is because his name's used in crosswords a lot. So I know it's like ask Alexa what Rubik's first name is.
Alexa, what is the full name of the inventor of the Rubik's Cube?
In March 1970, Larry D. Nichols invented a 2x2x2 puzzle with pieces rotatable in groups and filed a Canadian patent application for it. Nichols's cube was held together by magnets. Nichols was granted U.S. patent 3,655,201 on April 11, 1972, 2 years before Rubik invented his cube. Erno Rubik contributed to the invention of the Rubik's Cube in 1974.
Why does she got to upstage the Hungarian, the
Yeah,
free market guy?
I just asked about the Rubik's Cube. I didn't ask
she
about
upstages the free market Hungarian with the communist Canadians.
Jeez.
Jeez.
Crazy. That's awful.
Next thing we're going to hear about how great, what's that idiot's name up in Canada?
Trudeau.
Trudeau.
It's only Canadian I know that's up there. So.
Yeah.
Um, I
I
gotta. Hey, a quick follow up for you. By the way, speaking of follow ups, did you hear my little Easter eggs I put in the YouTube version of our show last week? I think you did because you commented on it, didn't you?
heard that you mean Easter egg like in surprises?
Yeah, yeah, like a prize. I
Room
put a
service?
yeah,
Yeah, I heard
housekeeping.
that.
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping. That's
Yeah. So I can only add sounds in post production, and since I handle the YouTube version, that's why you can only hear those kind of nuggets on the
Oh, so you're
YouTube
making a
version. By the
case.
way, yes, subscribe over there.
So hold on, you're making a case that the YouTube has got value added.
Yes, because it has post processing in it.
Is that like
That's
the
a
serial
technical
post?
term. No, it's a technical term. If you're in the industry, Dave, you'd know these things.
If you're an industry nerd, you know post production.
Yes, exactly. No CGI either. I mean, I'm just this good looking.
Is it GUI?
Yeah. You know what that stands for?
Yeah, we just
Mr. Computer Teacher.
GUI interface. It's gastrointestinal. No, that's not it.
No. Graphical user interface.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah. Oh yeah, that's it. I
It
knew
means
that.
little pictures instead of DOS keystrokes.
All right, exactly. Just
know.
like that's you say
Mr. QWERTY.
I say exactly all the time.
Yeah.
So so following up on last week, you mentioned that you were getting the DTs from lack of Zyrtec.
Yeah.
How much are you taking?
Well, the prescribed, the recommended
That's
dose.
just a recommended dose.
Yeah, is one 10 milligram tablet a day. And since I'm, larger than the
Oh, so you
bear,
made this declaration because you're a doctor. You've made this
well, I
declaration on
slept
your
at a
own.
hotel, a Holiday Inn last night, but I take about a dozen.
You do not.
Because I like to be really dry. No, I take one.
You're coming down. You're coming down off of
Like,
Zyrtec high.
this is heavy dose. No, I take 10 milligrams of whatever that stuff is. And so I went to we buy the off brand. So I went to
I was gonna say, do you buy the kosher brand or the real one?
kosher,
Yeah, generic, whatever you want to call it.
blessed by Rabbi. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
No, the generic brand, but I don't know if I got ripped off. I came home from CVS, was buying some other stuff there, and $58 for a bottle of it. I'm like, this thing's, but it was 50% off. So I got but it's a 365 tablets. So between
okay.
my wife and I, we got 6 months worth of dose available to us.
So you guys have a definite Zyrtec habit that you need to break.
Well, I can go without it. I finally got through the itching because I think I clocked it one time. It's like 5 or 6 days and you're done with the itching. By then you've worn a hole in all.
Well, and the doctors tell you to take it in advance of the pollen season, right? So your body ramps up to it.
So I had an internal medicine guy one time, 100 years ago, and well, give or take, but
well, that's a long time.
He said, "Dave, you ever get like sinus infections?" I'm like, "Yeah, I live in Florida all the time." He goes, "Well, I'm looking at your sinuses, and it's like a swimming pool." I'm like, "Can you be a little bit more specific on the definition there?" He goes,
It's like, a large body of water.
Yeah, he says there's a deep end. Yeah, so he goes,
a diving board.
It's really moist up there. Moist. I heard that's a bad word to say. Moist.
It's not moist. It's one of the 3 most uncomfortable words.
Moist.
Yes.
Can we do that? What's that stuff called? ASRM-MC?
Yes.
Anyway, so it's moist. And so he says, what I'm going to suggest for you is to get you on Allegra. And you need to dry that out. And
no, he said a leg rub.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
Because it didn't really make sense. Anyway,
Allegra. He's rubbing my leg.
I'm like, hey, what are you doing? It's up here, buddy. So I started, there's a big I said I started doing the Allegra and it worked. It dried me out. And then I think it was expensive. I can't remember why I switched. Someone came along to me like a dealer on the street and said, look, you taking Allegra? I got a little something for you. And so I think Sheila was on the Zyrtec and she says, we're not buying 2 different things that do the same thing. So I said, okay.
So you had to switch.
I'll come over to the dark side. Yeah.
Well, maybe Allegra hadn't gotten to the stage where they could make the generic.
I don't think it was at the time. Now you can, it's kind of like Sweet and Low and
all those other ones.
By the
I do
pink
think that's an unusual rule in our
patent law.
well, that the drug companies can only hold it for what,
7.
5, 7 years? Yeah.
Well,
Whereas
we like competition here in America, free market
I know,
capitalist.
but there's other things like, and I understand why, but like Coca-Cola. What was the other one I read the other day that they lock up the formula for? Uh, anyhow, that they're not obliged to give up their secrets, their trade secrets, but the medical drug companies are.
Well, I think it's probably one of those unintended consequences because apparently this is what the drug industry says. It takes us a lot of capital, a lot of money to do the research and do all the testing to finally get it approved by the FDA. Then you come
Yes.
along and wipe our feet out from under us when we're finally starting to make some profit. I kind of
Yes.
want to believe that story because
I will tell you, I studied a lot of the case studies we did in business school were either airlines or drug companies. So I do have some
go hand
background
in
on that.
hand. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean it's obviously those are the ones that feed the fuel at some of these business schools. But the Harvard case studies, they give you, and a
Yeah.
lot of them were on drug companies. And there is a tremendous amount of money that goes into production because you start small and you have to build manufacturing plants to bring up the product. You have to prove to the FDA as you bring up the production levels, the efficacy of the drug still stays the same, and then it still maintains that it's safe for human consumption. So there is that aspect of it all, and I do believe they should be able to recoup their money for that investment.
Investment, yeah.
Otherwise, they wouldn't do it, right? Who would bother doing it if you're just going to lose all your money?
Yeah, I don't want to dwell. This is riveting conversation, but I think with any legislation, there's good at heart. I think their intentions are meant well, and then there's unintended consequences. So I think what it does is it pushes the drug companies to be on the FDA more to get stuff approved faster, so they
Yeah.
can recoup within that 7 years. Then what are we getting? We're getting stuff that may or may not have been supposed to be approved. I don't know.
And then we have who made the opioid? What's the name of that family that
Uh,
made
Oxycontin.
yeah. So they just said, hey, FDA board member, we'll give you a board seat in a month or two. Just
Yeah,
make
that's what I'm
sure.
saying. That's what comes next. So
Right. So
all
yeah,
right.
it's always someone that gets greedy and wants to,
Well, the
beat
good
the
news,
system.
listeners, is Dave and Woody, we can help. We're policy makers as well. So anytime you need some stuff figured out, we can do that for you.
Yeah, no, anytime.
It's
It
not
comes with
all
a small
about just
fee.
farts and jokes, fart jokes and silliness. We're in heavy into policy.
Hey, speaking of Easter eggs, you gonna go on an Easter egg hunt this weekend?
No, but I've been laying a few in my neighbor's bushes. Keep them guessing. Wait a minute, that's not an egg. I don't know where
Nice.
that came from, but no, I don't think so.
Do you remember doing that as a kid?
Easter egg hunt?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure I do.
Really?
Yeah, we used to remember the yacht club I used to be a member of.
Yeah.
They have a big one, a big
Okay.
Easter egg
Yeah, but
hunt.
it wasn't for you. It was for
Oh,
kids.
I usually knocked a few kids out of the way because I knew there was money in those eggs.
There's keys to a boat over there.
Hey, you get a free boat. No, I guess so. I mean, I never fully understood the bunny and Christ.
Well, there's Santa Claus.
Santa Claus is a giving guy, but I never understood the connection between the Easter egg and the bunny, and because most of our stuff is pseudo-religious, Judeo-Christian, fostered.
Yeah. I'm sure it was derived out of a business sense, right?
I should know that. I feel guilty. Hang on, let's see if Alexa knows.
She's going to tell you about the movies, but all right.
Yeah, what's playing? That going for us. Alexa, can you share? This is a bad way to start.
Yeah, you just
On a conversation.
just ask her why is the Easter
She
bunny
said
tied?
sure.
Why is a bunny tied to Easter?
Alexa, why is the bunny tied to Easter?
Here is an answer from an Alexa Answers contributor that I translated. The rabbit symbolizes fertility and rebirth in many cultures.
Yeah.
The Easter tradition assimilates the rabbit to spring abundance and new life, connecting it to the Easter season, which celebrates the resurrection of Jesus Christ and spiritual rebirth.
All
So,
right.
so there's
I'm always curious what she's translating it from. Is this a Japanese gentleman contributor or a Mexican contributor?
so the rabbit we know multiplies a lot, right?
Yeah. Well, that's always
Quickly,
the
apparently.
story. Yeah.
Um,
So rebirth.
yeah, I guess so. Sounds
All
like
right.
it's a pagan thing almost though, because it's I don't know. I'm gonna have
Don't
to
read too
call.
much into it.
No, I'm gonna call one of my pastoral friends and say, break it down for me. I need some help with that.
I think churches have Easter egg hunts, so I don't think it's too pagan. If it were,
No,
they wouldn't be having them.
it just doesn't make full sense. The chocolate. Now, then you got to introduce chocolate into the egg. How did that get there? Something's awry.
Well, what kid's gonna hunt for a hard-boiled egg? You know, if there's not chocolate
Yeah.
involved.
So you got a bunny who reproduces like a mad person, and then it's got a chicken egg. I guess it's the same story, right? Rebirth, but then it's hard boiled, so you've killed the egg. I don't
Well,
know.
it was
I'm
an
confused.
unfertilized egg.
I'm confused.
All right. Well, we're not going to get to any kind of answer
Well, if you're listening and you feel like you know the answer, please weigh in with one of
down
our
below. I'll
emails.
put our address right there.
Yeah, that's a great
below us.
idea because we're batting 1,000. Psychos,
Or-
send us an email, psychos.
Yeah. Or what's your X address?
I don't know. Woody and Dave. No,
Dave
Dave,
and
and Woody
Pod.
X.
Mm-hmm.
That's Twitter for those of you that live under a rock.
So
Dave and
there
Woody
are
Pod.
many, many, many ways you can communicate with the two brilliant minds.
Or you can call Woody on his personal cell phone. That number
At
is.
7.
I like taking calls late at night.
I'd be curious if I get a phone call on there. So,
I didn't tell him the number. You want me
but
to?
I don't really remember. My mom, I think, used plastic eggs because the dog would find them in the morning and eat them. That's what it was. So the dog would find those hard-boiled eggs and drag them all over. I think that happened once, and that was the end of.
That was a whole nother celebration that came about an
Right.
hour later. Mom spots retching and doing other things. There we are. We're talking about poo. Next will be toilets.
In bathrooms.
Did
Right
we make
back
it
to
30 minutes? No, that's it. We're on the mark.
Right. Yeah. A little late, but we'll get there. So you were going to tell me about your day in life of Dave Theus,
Yeah.
but have you decided not to?
Well, I gave you the Rubik's thing. That was a pretty big thing today.
Oh, that's right. That was at school.
I had something. I did some stuff. I want to be, let's maintain some professionalism here.
Yeah.
But in one of my mini roles that I'm in, I'm a chairperson for this very great, not great, this very non-for-profit.
Yeah.
We're serving people in our community that are in crisis, and so we've been named the beneficiary of our local Clay County Agricultural Fair, and so each year, in fact, we're going to get this thing for 2 years. So each year, the Clay County Agricultural Fair does a day they call the Fair Cares Day. And that's where they encourage patrons to receive a discount at the gate. It's a slow day, a Tuesday. And so
Okay.
they're trying to think of creative ways to get people to come out, which is fine.
Now, is this the big fair, like the
The
county
big fair.
fair?
This is the one I've told you is like the
Okay.
best fair of all times.
All right. Okay. We've talked about it before. Here.
Yeah, a year ago.
Well,
Can
you said
believe
agricultural fair, so I didn't know if that was the big fair or not.
that? Yeah. Agricultural fair is
Is your big county fair?
it's a county fair.
Okay.
So anyway, so they have this luncheon every year before the fair. So it's funny. It's interesting because for 15 years I've been volunteering at the fair, 10 to 15 years, and I've been invited to this luncheon every year, and I could never go for some reason. And now I do this thing I do now, and I got invited, and I was able to go.
Is that
So
the
it was-
one with the where you wore a bandana? I just asked if you wore a bandana.
So one of the ladies, because it's kind of a country theme, it's an agricultural fair. So there's lots of folks. We're in a big barn, basically.
Right.
We're in the cattleman's arena where they have all the horse racing and the tractor pulls and all that stuff. And so they were trying to dress accordingly, and she had on some jeans, and she brought me a bandana. And I'm not going to get into all the details, but she handed me the bandana. Of course, I pretty big neck, and it wasn't going to fit around my neck. So she goes,
Well,
"Why don't
how
you stick-"
small a bandana was it?
Well, I have an
You could have
18 inch.
tucked it in like an ascot, maybe.
Well, I went with the
Pocket square.
pocket square,
Okay.
and then I said, "Wait a minute. There's something about a red bandana I've heard about. I want to make sure that I'm
Why don't we
representing."
ask Alexa?
I don't know if I'm prepared to do that.
Okay. So you decided not, you opted for not displaying
Well, I
your
Googled
bandana.
it, and it turned out something I didn't want to present.
Okay. All right.
I even showed her, and I said, "See, I remember."
Oh, you
She-
did?
Yeah, she
Because I
was
was
like,
going to say, was she offended that she
"Well,
saw you later?
I said, don't be offended by this. This is a fact. I'm just saying."
Right.
But she goes, "Well, I
Okay.
guess that's a good thing you didn't do that."
Yeah. Well, only if there was someone else in the room who would have
Accommodated.
recognized that. Yeah, recognized that symbol. I don't think
Well,
I
I don't
would
know.
have. I just thought it was pretty funny. Your paranoia paid off for
Paid
you
off.
for once.
Well,
Yeah.
I've traveled to Europe. That's
Is
probably
that
where I learned it.
it?
I don't know.
I don't think they have
Anyway,
bandanas in Europe. So
yeah,
anyhow, the Cattleman's Ranch is a big lunch, and that's where they explained because you were representing your nonprofit.
correct. And this
Okay.
is really an opportunity for the fair to recognize volunteers on their. It's really about the fair. The lunch is about promoting the fact that it's getting ready to kick off in a couple weeks, and it's their chance to recognize their board members for the years of service and volunteers and that sort of thing. So it's just kind of a get together.
Yeah.
Everybody, we've gotten this far in the season, we're ready to go, and I can remember it being kind of small, like maybe 100 or so people. Now
That's what it
there
looked
was,
like when I walked in. The picture you sent, didn't you
I
send me a
think it
picture?
was 300 or 400 people there. It was a bunch.
All right. Maybe if I think about it, another nugget for the YouTube.
You gonna put
I'll
that
put the
picture up there?
picture. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got Americana, got the big
Dave
flag.
in his red bandana.
Yeah.
Could you get a picture of that for me?
Uh, no.
Might attract a different audience.
Yeah, well, I mean, apparently we're big in prison, so who knows?
Yeah.
They all may be cheering. Yay!
Speaking of cattlemen, before we get back to your day, do you have a Texas Roadhouse down there?
Yeah, we do.
Is it so long story short? I mean, it's not a long story to begin with. So my wife's been cleaning up one of our roads. She found a $30 gift card to Texas Roadhouse. So we're like, oh, we were trying to think of somewhere to go for dinner that night. So we're like, we're going to Texas Roadhouse for dinner. But we said, let's be blue hairs and go early because I've heard that it's busy there. So
Yeah.
we left left the house here at 4:30, got there just
Really?
yep. Jesus. The
Slammed.
parking lot was absolutely packed. I had to park. This is a
Do
big
do
parking
they
lot
do the
too.
app? Do you have to sign in on the app?
It for the one we were going to, it wouldn't allow that. They didn't have call ahead or anything. That's what Barb said. She said maybe we should have put the app in. I just went on the internet and checked, and it said not available.
Hmm.
But you're right, we didn't do the app. But yeah, it was a 40-minute wait at a little before 5 o'clock on a Saturday night.
Does yours allow for the peanuts on the floor still?
No,
Yeah, they
they
cleaned ours
just
up
put
too.
little bags of peanuts.
Yeah,
I don't.
it's probably a slip and fall thing.
No, I think it's more of a anaphylactic shock thing, right?
Oh, it could be peanut allergies. Yeah.
Yeah. My daughter in her younger years was allergic to peanuts, and I just wouldn't have gone to Texas Roadhouse, right? I don't understand why we have to make everybody's got to adhere to someone else's allergies. So that's confusing to me.
Interesting
Yeah.
angle. So why everyone else has to? Okay, I'm not gonna go there.
All right.
No, it's not a joke. It was stuff.
I know that.
There's a big Yeah, no, we love it, and
It's
there's
really good steak for, I don't know. I got it's only like $16-17 or something for the
I
steak.
eat the pork chops there. They do a double pork chop. That's
Oh, you
killer.
go all the way to Texas Roadhouse for a pork chop?
Yeah, but you got to have the pork chop. It's the deal. I get the pork chop with the side of broccoli.
Oh, you just go all out.
I do double broccoli, I think, and I get.
Oh no, not double broccoli.
Oh, I gin up on the broccoli. I like my trees.
I don't like prime rib.
I don't eat pork. I mean, I don't
You
eat.
just
I don't
down two
eat. I
pork
don't eat
chops.
beef. I don't eat beef.
You don't eat beef,
It doesn't set well with me.
but it tastes good going down, right? Mm.
I like sirloin.
And that's what I had
I like the
sirloin.
sirloin.
And
Little
I don't
extra
like prime
marbling.
rib, but I had some at Texas Roadhouse years ago, and I thought it was awesome.
Sheila eats the prime rib. She likes
Okay.
the last time I had a prime rib was in Winter Park, Florida. There was a restaurant. I can't remember. It was over on the lake, and now it's gone. It's now well, it's even changed hands again, but it was this little tiny house on that lake over there off of Fairbanks. It was a family business.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Kind
And
of
they
where the sinkhole appeared eventually.
kind of there, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they served a king cut and a queen cut, and I ordered the king cut, and it fell off my plate. And I ate it, and I was like, wow, this is
No, it literally fell off your plate.
it was hanging off the sides of the plate.
Oh. The way you said that was like it fell on the floor.
Well, I mean, it was
I
huge.
still ate it.
King cut. It was huge.
Well,
So,
when we go to
like
Omaha,
Fred Flintstone.
yeah, that when we would go to Omaha, there was a place called the Pink Poodle. And it was kind of outside of town near the Iowa border. And we would get like a monster piece of prime rib out there for $10. It was just insane. It was very good. But
You didn't go to the in Omaha. There's a place called the Drover.
mhm.
Yeah. Alexa, what is the name of the guy who drives the cattle?
Here is an answer from an Alexa Answers contributor that I translated.
Translate.
The one who brings cows to pasture is the shepherd or the herder.
What? I don't even understand your
Alexa,
question.
who is the cattle driver?
From encyclopedia.com. Trail drivers, cowboys who moved cattle, typically
Yeah.
in herds of about 2,500.
What are you even asking her? I don't
Okay,
understand.
Alexa,
range.
stop. Hold on. Alexa, define drover.
Drover is usually defined as a person who drives cattle or sheep to market. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for
Why
drover.
did she just go that time?
Say that the first time, lady. Oh, she's, I think it is. She's got a little bit of an ego. I think she's like, no, I'm smarter than
I
you
think
are.
she has an attitude towards you. Is
I
the
think she's
problem.
definitely got an attitude.
Maybe I should start asking Alexa these
God,
questions
it drives me crazy. It's like, no, I'm not going to give you the one you want. You're going to get the one I want to do.
until you
So
directly
the
ask.
restaurant was called the Drover in Omaha,
Okay.
and it wasn't really much to it. I think it caught fire though.
Okay.
I don't want to ask Alexa because
I'll ask my wife about that place.
But they had this salad bar that was a wagon wheel. Now imagine this. Wagon wheels got a hub.
Is this someplace you would go to? Is that why you remember it?
So I did a big installation with furniture in Omaha for ADT.
Nebraska Furniture Mart?
No, stop
Oh.
doing that. No,
What?
so
Stop doing what? It was
so,
like the
so we
Hickory.
won a contract with ADT, Herman Miller, when I worked for Herman Miller.
Right.
And we installed a call center for the alarm monitoring company ADT. One of them was in Rochester, New York. So we took a crew up to Rochester and installed a bunch up there. The other one was in Omaha, Nebraska, and then we stayed at Council Bluffs at the casinos. And I took Bill Cosby for a bunch of money.
Good.
Before we knew about him spiking drinks, because I felt kind of sleepy.
I was going to say, did you? How'd you know he spiked
I woke up
drinks,
with a red
Dave?
bandana in my back pocket. I know that. That was the greatest callback ever. Oh yeah, that was sore. Anyway, so then we
Still
did one.
sore about that.
I'm so sorry about that. We did one in Dallas Fort Worth too, but we went to Warren Buffett's house in Omaha. I knocked on his door. I'm like, a couple stock tips.
Yeah.
How about it, Warren? But he doesn't live there. That's the biggest BS story. We were there for days. We went there every day, and he never showed up.
Well, you can't get near the house.
Yeah, I'm stood in the driveway.
Yeah, but it's still the house is still a good ways
No,
off
it's in
the
a
driveway.
It's in a suburban neighborhood. It's right there on the main street. He doesn't live there. He lives in Palm Beach or something.
I've been by the house. My wife's from Omaha, so in fact, we went to the steakhouse where he regularly dined.
Was it the Drover?
That's what I'm wondering about. That's why I
Because it's
thought
kind of something he would do.
run of the mill kind of
Yeah, but
steakhouse.
it was, yeah.
And him and Bill Gates ate there once together.
Is she really from Omaha?
Yeah.
Does she like Peyton Manning?
Oh, because he yells Omaha. She was tickled by that. Yeah, sure.
I always thought that was a cool. When you ever seen that one where he talks about what does it mean? He's like, well, sometimes it means.
It's easy to understand.
All right.
There's no
Anyway,
story behind it.
I think
So,
we've given Omaha. So I'll tell you the funny story here real quick. So we're in Omaha.
yeah, please, we need a funny story.
Okay. So this dealership that I dealt with in Jacksonville, they're the ones that we won the contract with. So Herman Miller is the manufacturer. Then we need a dealer to buy it at wholesale from us and sell it to the end user customer, right? That's the connection.
Right.
Then we got to get it installed. And so what typically happens is if it's a faraway town, the dealer in Jacksonville buys it, makes their markup, and subs out the installation to the site where it's going, right?
Right.
Well, this guy I worked with who's now dead and gone, he wanted both sides of it. So he has an installation crew at the time that had a box truck with all the tools, great guys, and he literally loaded up 6 guys in I think some of them were right in the back of the truck, and they
Nice.
drove to Rochester and met us in Rochester, and then we drove from Rochester to Omaha.
Ugh.
We flew because
Yeah, I was say, oh, that's gotta be a long
I'm on the
drive.
Herman Miller dime at that point. We said we'll see you in Omaha, and so these guys were so cool, man. I can't remember the one guy's name. He had this trick where he would take this rubber finger, those things like accountants use to
Yeah,
count
the
papers.
paper admins will use
Well,
the flip through
this
paper.
is back in the day you could smoke in the bar, right? So we're
Okay.
in this bar in Omaha, and it's a bunch of college kids, and he's lit up. Of course, I think I was too, but
Yeah, you're
anyway,
probably paying for it.
I was. And so he'd take this rubber finger thing off and stick it down in his hand, and he had this bit that he would do. He goes, "Watch this." And he'd take a cigarette and fire it up, and he would stuff it down in his hand. Okay, and then he kept doing this, but what you didn't know is he had that rubber finger down in
Yeah.
there. And he would hit it one last time, then pull it out. It was on the end of his hand, and then he'd do this number, and the cigarette
Right.
would be gone. And we would have people. He'd go, "Look, you got to buy me a drink. If you can't figure it out, you got to buy me a drink." And so we never paid for drinks one night because these people were like, "Come on, man, do it again, do it again." And
That's
then
an
we
old
told them.
magic trick.
So then we told them. They asked us what we did, and we had this big truck, this panel truck outside. So we told them we
Come
were
outside and take a look.
we told them we were storm chasers, and that we were in town.
Was that
chasing
really a
tornadoes.
thing even back then?
Oh yeah, that was big.
Huh.
And they were like, "Really?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're storm chasers. We're here in Nebraska because we hear you guys got tornadoes all the time."
Yeah, it's the middle of winter. They're like, I don't think there's tornadoes this time of year.
It didn't matter. We were in a bar. It didn't matter. We could have said we were Warren Buffett. Those people would have probably believed.
You don't remember what bar you were in, do you?
Something. I don't know. It was on a.
Something liquor. I don't know.
It was in a. I don't know. I don't know. There was a branch of Nebraska University across the street from it.
ONU
I don't know. That's a whole nother lifetime ago.
or Creighton.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's who I have in attorney this year.
Oh, in the dance.
Yep. I got them going all the way. Who did you pick?
I don't know. I couldn't
Other
even
than the hair off your tongue there in
No,
front
it
of
was a piece
everybody.
it was a piece of that Mexican dip. I got a new dip.
Do you?
Yeah, makes spicy, tangy. It's got jalapenos in it. I'm gonna
Well,
add
that's not new. That's what you had last time.
No, this is different. It's straight up Mexican dip versus the corn stuff. I'm working my
Straight
way
corn.
through the whole deli.
I was gonna say you just go in and pick a new one out every week.
I'm in the Mexican, what do you call it, cuisine still.
All right.
So hold on, the big dance. We should talk about this. We've started, right? March Madness.
Yeah, we were in Sweet 16 this week.
So Creighton's still in it.
Yep.
Who's the one that's got the kid that played somewhere and he was no good? Then he went his master's degree and he picked up a school. Someone picked him up, some tiny little school.
No idea.
Some white kid. He hits a 3-pointer. He put in like 50 buckets last couple weeks ago.
I'm not that big a fan of college basketball other than the
I used to
tournament.
really like March Madness. I used to play the grids. The whole deal. Who's
Bracket.
left? Whatever you call it.
About 16 teams.
I know, but Creighton.
Well, Kentucky's out.
Is Gonzaga still in it?
I believe so. Hold on. I can look it up. I have it right here on my screen because I checked my
Yeah,
status.
we got staff. Don't we have a staff for this?
I'm in a bracket this year. So let's see. It's
Do you think Obama's still picking them?
I'm sure. Yeah. NC State is still in it. Duke is still in it. Houston, Marquette, Illinois. Hold on. That can't be right. Why is that?
They're all ACC teams.
Well, I didn't refresh the screen since Sunday. That's why.
It's still 64.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah. So anyhow, Houston, Duke, UConn, San Diego State, uh, Purdue, Gonzaga, Tennessee, Creighton, Clemson, and Arizona.
I don't think that's one of the schools the guy I'm talking about. I know my buddy Mike, the commish, is cheering for UConn, the Wolves or something like that, the Wolverines,
Yeah. No, the Huskies, right?
Huskies. Yeah.
Yeah. North Carolina, Alabama,
I guess Florida.
Illinois, Iowa, UConn, and San Diego State. That's the ones I read the first time.
Yeah.
UConn and San Diego State.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna take San Diego State. I like that. The West Coast. What do we got on this? A couple thousand?
yeah. What do you want to go? 10,000 like we usually do?
Yeah, 10's good.
You ever do that joke as a kid? I'll bet you $10. Blah, 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 blah. You don't remember
No.
that joke?
No, all I remember is my dad can beat up your dad.
You'd make a dumb bet like I'll bet you $5 that I can do something that you knew you couldn't do, and you're on. And then when you'd lose, you'd take your knee and you'd buck him right in the ass 5 times. That was
$5.
yeah, $5. See?
I get it.
Yeah,
I don't remember doing that.
it was
Must
those
have
high
been
caliber
must
intelligent
have been a
kids.
regional thing that you guys were doing in whatever, New Jersey or something.
Pennsylvania. Come on, keep up.
Same difference. Philly. It's all the same difference.
So
Okay.
what else you do today?
Great show.
Yeah.
Well,
so far.
today was, you know what overmorrow is, right?
Yeah, I used that on my daughter today.
I did it. Yes.
She didn't blink an eye. I said it was via text. I said something. I said, "Oh, I'm going to do this overmorrow." She's like, "Oh, great." That's what she put it back with.
Well, does she
Good.
know, or does she just knows now?
She doesn't know, I don't think, but she didn't blink an eye about it. She probably just thought I was being a smart ass as usual.
I was at my my bookkeeper. I think it was today. I get them all messed up.
Your bookie?
Bookie. No, I have a
Yeah.
bookkeeper at school, and I was picking up my check for my expenses. I paid for, I bought. I'm like Daddy Warbucks. I show up and people gather around. I buy everybody dinner,
And then you expense it to the government.
yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
So,
Or the PTA, I should say.
So I spent like $800, and I got per diem back 600 and change. So I'm such a generous guy. But anyways, so I'm going in there. I'm like, "You got a check for me yet?" She goes, "Yeah, come on in. I'll give you a check." And so I said, "So what do you got going on over tomorrow?" And she was like, "This guy's having a stroke." What did you say? I said, "Over tomorrow. What do you got going on?" And she goes, "What are you saying, Mr. Theus? Are you messing with me? Pull my leg."
Tell her, listen to the show. Episode, I don't know which one that was.
She's not into that. She's got a small Sensi dealership going on there I didn't want to get in the middle of that business operation.
She said, well, she probably said, thank you for your having a bonhomie attitude. So
the Abonomy?
what? Bonhomie. You not hear me?
Attitude?
What's that?
That's what I'm saying. What's that?
What's that? The bonhomie. That's the word of the week, people. Bonhomie.
Lobotomy?
No, bonhomie.
Bonhomie.
Yeah.
Bonhomie. That means
Bonhomie.
attitude.
Cheerful, friendliness.
What is the origin of
geniality.
that? Indian or something?
French, late 18th century. See, I knew you were going to ask me that. I was ready to
Bonhomie.
go. Bonhomie. It's not Italian, it's French. Bonhomie.
Alexa, how do you pronounce bonhomie?
I don't know that.
How do you spell it?
Bonhomie. Bonhomie.
Alexa, how do you pronounce BONH?
I pronounce that bon, but I'm always on how I say things, and I might not have it right.
Ask for the definition of bonhomie.
Alexa, what is the definition of bonhomie?
From mamanatural.com. Bonhomie means good friend.
Bonhomie. That's what you're a good friend of your bonhomie.
You better be. I mean, I should at least know you, know your name.
I don't mess around with strangers. I mean, we're gonna go there. I got to at least know who you are. At least be a good friend. That was uncalled for, Dave. Totally unprofessional. The
Hey,
good
on
news.
commercials the other day, I heard the statement that they only sold responsibly raised beef.
On our Spotify commercials.
No, it was just a commercial in general. By the way, the caliber of the commercials I'm getting on our podcasts have come. They started as all PSAs. Then I worked through the gambling apps on the on the
Feel
phone.
lucky.
Yeah, exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to circle a little longer. We're going to get lucky up here in the cockpit.
Oh, we were getting lucky at the limo.
Right. So you get the same one down there. But they were actually commercials as of late. So I got to thank our audience for bringing up our listener levels. And please continue on. Maybe we'll actually get a real someone wants to sponsor the show.
I want to come back to the responsible beef rearing, but mine are all ambulance chasers.
Really?
Yeah, I've got a local firm, and I know these guys, Farah and Farah, and their big catchphrases are the one word about our firm is what is it? Not responsibility. It's
Accountability.
I don't know.
Well, obviously their commercials
effective.
are working.
Yeah, it's I don't know. These attorneys, they come up with something. They're not supposed to really talk about what they do, but they can talk about themselves, I guess. I don't know. Advertising.
Help me out something, because lately I've seen it in NASCAR and TV advertising up here. They must have gone national or something. Morgan and Morgan.
Yeah, so they're from Orlando.
That's what I thought. I told my wife, I said, I swear I know these guys because the one Morgan used to go to Wally's all the time, right?
And he used to go to Tangeray's. That's where I used to.
Oh,
I used to drink with him.
Okay, all right.
He was a jerk back then too.
Yeah, I remember. And if I remember right, I think they're the ones who bought Wally's after it closed.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, they're like the world's largest defense. They're not defense attorneys. They're ambulance chasers. What do you call
Yes,
them?
so they're huge.
Personal injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won a giant case, like 300 million or some crazy case not too long ago. I can't remember what it was, but yeah. So I had City Jazz at the time, so I was cruising the town.
City Jazz with Dave Theus.
City Jazz, we're tuning in. So I would be downtown at Tangeray's, and Tangeray's.
Remember that bar?
It was that bar that was like Cheers. You walk downstairs right on Main Street, right on like Orange Avenue.
I must not have been allowed in.
Well, it was right on Orange Avenue. It was under like one of the banks. It was probably the old vault.
Yeah.
And so you would go downstairs and what's that guy's? I don't want to say him because he'd probably sue us. The principal of that firm would be down there sitting at the end of the bar. And so I'd go in and talk, hey man, how's it going?
Yeah.
No, I'm having a rough day. And he'd still be suited up, like he'd just come downstairs from his office and it'd be like midnight. He'd be pounding back gin. And we got to talking. He was kind of a prick.
Yeah, like I said, he would come over to the Wally's occasionally. One of the Morgans would. I don't know which one.
But don't say his name. They'll be suing our butts for that.
For what? Saying I ran into him?
I don't know. He'll come up with something.
Hey, listen. If they want some of this action, they got to go after Dave Theus first.
Thanks. I knew that was coming. We'll have to use my consigliere.
Oh, and we were going to ask her about that. Dave seems to think consigliere is restricted to only the mob.
Don't say the mob. Alexa, define consigliere.
From theadvocate.org. The term consigliere originates from the Italian word consiglio, which means advice or counsel.
Yeah, see?
Well, you told me it was a guy who could write the checks.
I don't know.
Now it's
I'm not in the mob. I don't know. I just watched movies.
Okay.
I don't watch them all. Have you ever watched Godfather?
Yes. I finally went back and watched all of them.
I got to be careful saying this out loud, but I never watched it. So I guess that makes some sort of judgment against my manhood.
Yeah, because I always forget what the argument is for which is the best and what is the worst. And
I watched Roadhouse a bunch of times, but
did you
never.
watch the new Roadhouse?
I thought he was dead.
No, there's a new Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Is the old guy come back?
No, no. I mean,
The,
Gene, what's his Gear? Richard Gear?
no, the
Was it
cowboy guy, the guy that was the legend.
Oh, yeah, he died, hasn't he?
No, he's alive, I think.
Sam.
Sam.
No, I think he just passed away.
Took a roundhouse to the temple.
Yeah. So no, they remade it not identical to the original storyline, but a lot of the same elements to it. It's on
Netflix.
Netflix or Prime. One of the two. I think maybe Prime. Can't remember. And it was pretty good. Me and my wife watched it Friday night. So it's all right. It's worth a watch. It's got who's the MMA fighter? Conor.
Colin, the Irish guy.
Conor McGregor.
Thought he broke his leg.
Apparently it's okay now.
Is he like the bad guy?
Yeah, he's the bad guy's
the little guy.
Yeah, he's the bad man's hitman. He comes in and fights, Jake Gyllenhaal, who's just there trying to help a bar.
Mind his own business.
Exactly. Said it. That's 3 times tonight, Dave.
Exactly, or mind his own business.
Exactly.
Oh.
So,
okay.
My bad.
We're kind of rambling tonight. These turn out to be the best shows we ever do usually.
At least in my mind.
Just want to give a shout out to Psychos. I like saying his name.
What a name. That is an awesome name to have in life.
I think so.
It's not even a nickname.
No, I thought it was for my career. I'm like, this guy can't be named Psychos, and it is his name.
And then, you do that thing where he buzz his hair real tight and put arrows and stuff in his head like he was Psycho just to fit the bill.
He did that?
Kidding. No, I'm kidding. Jeez, I wait for you. But tonight is power tool safety night in the Woody household. So we're going to have to, we got about 5 minutes left. Is there anything you want to address?
Well, let's go back to this because I'm concerned about the power tool safety. Is this where, do you simulate a dummy situation where one of you wears a necktie and then you show what the misgivings of using power tools and inappropriate dress would do?
Well, that's really not needed anymore because very few children wear neckties in the wood shop anymore.
I'm just saying, if you were going to, do that and introduce I need a haircut. Look at this thing. This mop is out of control.
You could be in a hairband.
Look at that. It doesn't move. That's the only problem.
You don't want to get around power tools with that kind of hair.
That's what I'm saying.
Gets caught up in the router.
So shirt tails, neckties out.
No, it's more about not putting your fingers in the blades. So what we'll do is I'll put a hot dog in my hand. And as I push the wood through, I show it. The hot dog and mutilate it. Right.
So let me restate this. What you do is you put your hot dog in your hand, and then as you push the wood through,
you heard me correct.
It mutilates your hot dog.
Yes.
Is it intense pain or is it just kind of a shrieking pain?
It's kind of a blunt. You shock and
you go numb for a minute. Then
your adrenaline takes over. Yeah. I make a lot of weird faces. Like.
Like my dentist trip with no Novocaine. There's a guy I watch.
I told you my dentist as a kid did that, right?
Yeah, hold on a second. Let's not get sidetracked because it's that kind of night. I'm looking at the clock. We got a little bit of time left, not much.
All right.
But and I don't want to make fun of this guy because I love this show. I can't remember the name of it, but I think they're brothers. Probably not. There's these brothers that live in Western North Carolina, and they own a home building company, and they're on YouTube. And I can't remember the name of it, but
throw them a plug. Yeah.
Well, I can't. Hold on. Let me wax eloquently while I pull up my subscriptions.
So are they building tiny homes? Or are they building?
No, they're custom builders. They do a bunch of stuff. They're in between jobs. They're remodeling things.
Are they good at their craft?
Yeah, here they are. They are called Perkins Builders, and they're in Western North Carolina. They're over in. They tell us all the time where they are. And I started watching them. First of all, they're hilarious. I recommend them. Perkins Builders. and they literally take you on the job site, and they got a couple characters that are part of their job. I think they're the two main guys are brothers, I think. And the one guy is clearly the licensed contractor. The two guys are both probably licensed contractors, but the one guy, the I don't know what age difference he is, but he's probably the boss. Okay, because he seems to have the widest breadth of knowledge of the code, and he's the
Okay.
one who talks about going to the contracting school every once in a while. But he the first time I started watching, he has like this bionic hand, and it's like a brace that he puts on, like a glove. Well, I kept watching and thinking, okay, maybe he's had a birth defect or something like that. But he goes into detail. He's a woodworking guy, and in his spare time, he's got a shop in his garage, and I'm not making fun of it, but he talks about it on YouTube and he shows it. He had like a lathe in his garage, and he tells everybody they're really good about doing things to tell you how to do things better. And he
Safe.
says, "Look,
Yeah.
here's a perfect situation where I messed up. I didn't follow the safety protocol, and I put my hand right through the planer, and
Oh,
I can't even
well, that's not a
imagine."
lathe. A
No,
planer
it was a
is.
planer. I think it was
Oh my God.
because it had the thing on the top and the bottom,
Yes.
and it
Oof.
just tore his hand apart. And so
Yes.
he's got he's got a thumb and a couple fingers, but they're diminished, and he wears this brace, and it's like a hand, a
Yeah,
glove.
like with a prosthetic.
Yeah, prosthetic. And he's fully functional, and he's very straightforward and honest with it. I totally appreciate the way he handled it, but no
Hmm.
pun intended. Um, but it's a funny show, the Perkins Builders.
All right. I wrote it
Um,
down. I'll put it on the screen.
Perkin Builders Brothers. Perkins Builder Brothers. Yeah, I guess they're brothers. And they're in
Yes, it's in
Western
the
North
name. I wonder
Carolina.
how you got the idea they were brothers. Hmm.
Yeah. But here's the catch. I told my wife, I said, look, when we hit this jackpot with this stock
Yeah.
market thing I'm doing, we're going up there and they're going to build us a house. So Perkins Brothers, if you're listening, I got about 4 or 5 more years of this thing, and I'm coming to Western North Carolina, and you're going to build me a house.
Yeah, you got to figure out what city you're in because they could have built mine for me in Tennessee.
They stay in Western. They're where I go to a church. We do a men's retreat up there. It's called. They're right near. Is it Bristol?
Yeah, that's part of. Well, that's Bristol, Tennessee, and
No, it's not Bristol.
Bristol.
Hold on. It starts with a W.
Oh, that should help.
Yeah.
Okay, that narrows it down to about
It's small,
70 different places.
small little town west. There's a golf course right there where we play golf on the campground. Ah, crap. I can't remember.
Is it near Cherokee?
Yeah, it's in that. There's a little triangle there. Cherokee is in part of it. Then there's a little town that starts with a B.
I probably should know this, but I don't.
Yeah, I'm looking through my North Carolina.
Asheville.
It's west of
Hendersonville.
West of that, I think, or something like that.
Well, you're way out on that point then. Okay.
Shoot, I should remember this. It's near that Gunga River too. It's out that way.
That's just how it's pronounced too.
What is that? It's where they have those big growlers of beer. My buddy owns a brewery over there. We got 2 minutes, by the way.
Your buddy owns a brewery near me, and this is the first I'm hearing of it.
He's in that river basin up there in North Carolina, the
French Broad River.
He owns a hotel in Boone. He owns the Holiday Inn Express in Boone. He owns.
All right, Dave. I've been going up there for football games for the last 3 years.
Have you been staying in the one right near the Lowe's? Right there in front of the Lowe's. They used to own the property where that Lowe's is in Boone, but then Lowe's approached him and said, "Look, we want the frontage. Can we swap properties?" And so he said, "Yeah, we'll do a land swap." So Lowe's got the frontage, and he got the side property to it for the Holiday Inn Express. So he owns the Holiday Inn Express in Boone. He owns the.
Thanks for setting me up, man. Here I am paying for hotel rooms up there.
He owns this big Windjammer in Wrightsville Beach, and he owns a hotel on top of Beach Mountain. I don't know. He's a hotelier up there. Ben Bagley.
Okay. Thanks for introducing me, Dave.
It's not all about you, Woody.
Well, it should be.
Well,
especially when it's my green being spent on hotel rooms in Boone.
let me know, and I would have
All right.
hooked you up, but you were a little day late and a dollar short. All right, it is 8:17 on my time. We got 1 minute to make this happen. So I don't know where this show took us tonight. You said something about responsibly raised beef. I think it's a lot of loving and nurturing and caring, and it makes for
Tasty
better
beef.
beef.
Is that the idea? We can address that at another day. And for our listeners, we're thinking about doing an experiment with a crossword puzzle solving. So give us a ring. Let us know if you want to learn how to do crosswords and along with us, for that matter.
We're being serious is the thing, but it
It just
sounds
sounded
like
dumb.
yeah, we're gonna do some knitting later on and some cross stitch, but we're gonna throw
We're
in
going to have a
crossword puzzle.
bee. We're going to have a bee.
A bee, yeah,
Yeah.
at our coffee clutch next week.
Clutch.
All right,
Anyhow,
guys,
wrap this up.
let's wrap it up because the management's all over us about going long. So my name's Dave,
And I'm Woody. That's been the story of my life, going long.
and this is We Can Help with Dave and Woody, yet another titillating episode where you can tune in on YouTube, subscribe, and or listen to Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, tell us so we can sue those bastards. Did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
All right, we're out. See ya.